Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get started. As usual, we'll start first with talking about this weekend, the Shabbos' Torah portion. We're about to enter into a series of Torah portions that have as its central concern is the creation of the Mishkan, the tabernacle that served as the center of worship according to the Torah for the rest of the time the Israel's in the Midbar, in the wilderness, wandering around. And then later on, when they come to the land of Israel, that still hangs, it's there until Shiloh is destroyed, and later on replaced by the temple in Jerusalem. So this central shrine, Mishkan or tabernacle, the idea behind it, this is where God's presence is to be felt within the camp. It's in the, we'll see later on, especially in the Midbar in the book of Numbers. In the middle is the temple Mishkan. Around it are the Levites, and around them are the 12 tribes. And so we start by talking about contributions, the first building fund pledges and all those kinds of things to build the tabernacle, the collection of the gold and silver and fancy threads, wool, and what have you, that were to be used in the creating this Mishkan. And one basic rule of thumb is the more central it is to the Holy of Holies, the more precious the metals that are used. The ark that eventually is made, you've all seen, of course, Harrison Ford's version of the Ark of the Covenant. All right, that was made out of gold. Some of the appurtenances there, the menorah, show table, the incense altar inside the tabernacle tent were made of gold. Sockets, extra pieces for different things were made of silver, and then brass or bronze for other parts. And as we read through the next few weeks, we'll see the collection of the materials and then the building of the Mishkan. The Torah spends a lot of time on it. It was very central to ancient Israel. This idea of the central location of the Aron HaKodesh in the middle. God speaks to Moshe from then on, from the inside the tabernacle. All of this serves as a very central idea and concept, and so the Torah spends a lot of time talking about it. And the temple in Jerusalem is very much related to the tabernacle, either according to the biblical account, the traditional biblical account, you have the tabernacle first, and then the temple that's built in Jerusalem follows the pattern of the tabernacle, the Mishkan. Or Bible critics want to say that the Mishkan is a projection into the past of what, based upon the temple. And it was projected into the past to describe what took place in the Midbar, the 40 years. So depending upon how you view the traditions, how one understands those things. So we will see, and we talk about Megillat Esther in a few minutes, how descriptions of the various appurtenances, the cloths and things were very important in the ancient world. All right. We will go on now to the Hebrew. And so we need to share. Okay, forget. Where do we do it? Share screen. Come on. There we go. Okay. Yep, we're up to page 38 in the Hebrew text. The previous page, which I told you all had homework to work on, to learn the meanings of those words. They're all described in the previous pages. If you have any trouble finding them, you'll let me know, but there should be no issue with that. So now we're going to learn the letter Tet. It is the 9th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it has the sound of T. It only has that one sound, is always a T sound. And as I don't like the fact that they describe it just like the tav has the T sound, because we know that in Ashkenaz's pronunciation, it was not that way. But anyhow, so the tet will always be a T sound. No difference where it comes in the middle, the end of a word. It is always going to be the sound of the T, the letter T. All right. So let's unmute ourselves so we can work on the sounds here. Okay. No, not everybody's done it. Christina, Sarah. All right. Somebody did it. Heard their page is turning. Okay. So line number 1, we have ta,
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 te,
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 ti,
ti,
t,
te,
just t, not t, t.
te.
You know, remember the schwa when it's like this is the minimal sound that you need in order to pronounce a consonant. If I said T in English, t, t, that would be the schwa that comes with the T. And the last one is toe,
To.
like your big toe. All right.
To.
So line number 2, we've got toe,
To.
te,
Te.
tie,
Tai.
ita,
Ta.
ita, that's your
Mita.
bed, tour,
Tour.
and hey.
Hey.
All right, line 3, ta'am,
Ta'am.
tahar,
Tahar.
tabur,
Tabur.
tabach,
Tabach.
tamei,
Tamei.
and the last word there is tara,
Tara.
tara, torn, from which we get the Hebrew word, and it comes in Yiddish, treif. Treifa means a torn animal. Treifa, when we talk about kashrut, the Torah says if you find an animal that has been torn, taruf, taraf, in the and it died as a result of the wounds, it's not kosher. So if there's any reason why an animal was slaughtered, there's something wrong with it, the term used is tareif. It's a tareifa. All right, line number 4. B'terem,
Beterem.
teiruf,
Teiruf.
tiltul,
Tiltul.
l'taltel,
Letaltel.
l'talfein.
Letalfein.
If you need to make a phone call, you're going l'talfein. Telephone. All right. Ratuf,
Ratuf.
patar,
Patar.
anak,
Anak.
matana.
Matana.
The word matana means a gift. We're going to come to that tonight when we talk about matanot levionim, giving gifts to the poor. And chotem,
Totem.
your nostril. Tinoket. That little baby, little kid. Rachok,
Rachok.
shutaf, talia,
Talia.
nice girl's name, Talia. And matbeah.
Mate.
Mat
Be'ah.
be'ah.
Matbea.
Now, I'll give you a matbea for your thoughts. It's a coin. All right. Now, we've come across the letter bet when it has a dot in it, like in the beginning of the Baruch. Now, this is one of the letters that, depending upon whether or not there's a dot in the middle, we have an air stop. With a dot in the middle, it's an air stop. That's hence you get a b when you pronounce it. But if you don't put your lips together when you want to say the b, and you can just allow the air to come through just barely between your lips, instead of you get so without a dot, it is a V sound. So that's one of the issues, and you have to know whether or not, if there are no vowel signs there, at the beginning of a word, it usually will be the b. And at the end of a word, it will almost always be the v. In the middle, it depends. So we're going to see in the bracha, the blessing for the candle lighting, Yom Tov. All right. All right. So let's go down to line number 1. So we have vo,
Bo.
O.
v,
V.
v,
V.
ve,
Be.
a,
Ve.
they,
Ve.
by.
Vai.
Why do you do that? And vo.
Vo.
Okay, line number 2. Let's put your hearts into it. Lev,
Lev.
Lev.
and lev means heart. Levav
Levav.
also means heart. Rav,
Rav.
chalav,
Halav.
lots of milk, chalav. Halev,
Halev.
nadav,
Nadav.
and dov.
Dov.
Dov means a bear. And also it uses the name Dov. And sometimes you will hear some names that use the Hebrew and the Yiddish name together, version of it. So Dov, bear, is a name that you will hear in some circles. Dov meaning bear, and bear being the Yiddish word or German word for a bear. Okay, line number 3. Kever,
Kever.
Kever.
boker,
Boker.
shahar,
Shachar.
shaveh,
Shave.
shakul.
Shakul.
Line 4, roveh,
Rove.
borei,
Borei.
shuvah
Shuva.
is a tough one. Shovavut.
Shov.
Shovavut. I don't know if you're going to remember it or not, but when you have 2 letters that are the same letters next to each other, and the first one will have the shva underneath it, that's going to be a pronounced shva. All right. We have the same thing in the word hallelujah. The lamed, there's a doubling up of the lamed, the L sound. That's the first L is going to be a l. Okay, you'll come across it later. And the last word in that line is mitbach. Mitbach. I don't think any of you are sitting in your kitchen for this class, but it could be. And that's the mitbach. Badavar,
Badavar.
Mivrak,
Mivrak.
Avraka,
Havraka.
Irbev,
Irbev.
Irbev.
Rahav.
Rachav.
And line 6. Lehavdil,
Lehavdil.
Havdalah,
Havdalah.
Hevdel,
Hevdel.
Shavua,
Shavua.
Tov.
Tov.
Now, the basic word of bet, dalid, lamed means distinguish or separate. Lehavdil, to separate. And we have a ceremony on Saturday night, which is called Havdalah, the separation from the weekday in Shabbos. And Hevdel is to make a distinction, distinguish. And what do we say on Saturday night after we've made Havdalah? We say Shavua Tov. Have a good week. Shavua Tov. All right, let's go on to page 40. It's a little crooked here. I apologize. It's just a reviewing of the words we've had or letters. So line number 1, we have boats,
Boats.
retivut, mitzpeh,
Mitzpeh.
linshom.
Linshom.
Line 2, nefesh.
Nefesh.
That's a good word to learn, nefesh. Nefesh is usually translated as soul. Right? It can also mean a person. It just can be used that way as well. But nefesh and neshama, so nefesh is the meaning of a living soul, that which gives life to living creatures. Neshama is a word that's usually used for what we'd say in English is a person's soul. All right. Ivhuv, shachav, toref, terefa. And that becomes with Yiddish intonation, treifa. It's a treifa. All right. Chevra, chaverut, devarim, botsets, gneva. Don't ever be caught stealing something. Then you're violating no tiknov. Do not steal. Gneva. Tif tuf. Tachana. Tiul. Tiach. Tiach. Remember at the end of the word, it's ach, not cha, but ach. We have it like that. Okay. And the last one is tif. Yeah, everybody says, look quickly, I did. Okay. Line number 5. Chativa. L'chaim. You have to be able to say that word if you're going to be in Fiddler on the Roof. Right? Everybody has to learn to say hat for the Fiddler on the Roof song. To life, l'chaim. Okay. Chet. Chatoteret. Teret. Remember, right? The accent becomes right here because there's two segals. So the accent shifts from the last syllable. Line 6. Hechlit.
Hechlit.
Keshet.
Keshet.
Chalutza.
Halutza.
Hechalutz.
Echalutz.
Chiluf.
Hiluf.
All right, 7. Elohei.
Elohei.
Avraham.
Avraham.
Yitzchak.
Yitzchak.
Yaakov.
Yaakov.
Velohei.
Elohei.
At the beginning of the Amidah, we say Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov. Okay, line number 8. V'ahavta.
V'ahavta.
Levavcha.
Levavcha.
Nafshecha.
Navshecha.
Whoops. Me'odecha.
Me'odecha.
Anochi.
Anochi.
Mitzavcha.
Nitzavcha.
Beshivtecha.
Beshivtecha.
Uvlechtecha.
Uvlecha.
Uvshochbecha.
Uvshochbecha.
Most people, it really is pronounced Uvshochbecha. Uvshochbecha. This becomes an O sound here. Because, we won't go into the details on it. All right.
Rabbi, is this from the Shema, right?
Yep, very good. I was going to ask him if anybody recognized what it is. It's from the beginning of Shema. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele, etc., etc. Okay, line number 10. Uvkumecha.
Uvkumecha.
L'totafot.
L'totafot.
Elohechem.
Elohechem.
Emet.
Emet.
All right, we'll do one more page. All right, so we've got one new vowel that we're going to be introducing here, and it's called the kubutz. The kubutz has 3 dots at an angle, like that. And it's an oo sound. It's actually a short vowel sound. But when we say the blessing for the Hanukkah candles, right, we say Ner Shel Chanukah. So the nun in the middle there is Chanukah. Okay, so it's oo. So line number 1, we have lu,
Lu.
hu,
Hu.
oo,
Hu.
hu, nu, mu. And a few more times, get some counts here. Okay. Two,
Two.
two,
Two.
ku,
Ku.
Do.
Do.
All right, line 2, we have boots.
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 All right, whoops. Roots.
Roots.
Oof.
Goof.
Oof.
Oof.
Ov.
Ov.
Shuv.
Shoe.
Shoe.
And toof.
Tooth.
Line 3. Whoops, come on. Stop that. Veloon.
Balloon.
Tool.
Tool.
Pu'al.
Pu'al.
Rucha.
Rucha.
Ruach.
Ruach.
Chuppah.
Chuppah.
Anybody know what chuppah is?
Is that where
Is
you
it
get
the
married under?
wedding canopy?
The kuppah. Chuppah, yeah, the canopy. Yeah, it's a chuppah.
The wedding.
Okay, and after the chuppah, the bride and groom might go to stay at a malon.
Mala.
Malon. Malon is a hotel.
The hotel.
Hubby won't allow you to bring in your chatul.
Cat.
That's right.
Oh, good.
No cats in our malon. Surah.
Surah.
Bukat.
Cut.
Hira.
Shira.
Teva.
Teva.
Shituf.
Shituf.
Tirdof. Itzutz.
Pizzuts.
Avka. Rechula. Line 6. Lachatz. Munach. Kubutz. Shuruk. Chirik. They're playing a little game here because the word kubutz is the name of the vowel under the first letter. Shuruk is that vowel. Chirik is the E vowel. All right. And line 7, we have Mechira.
Mechira.
Shabbat. Anochi. Mituyal. Tiyulim. Hikes, going off on a trip somewhere. All right.
Rabbi Berman, there was some word you just learned something about soul that is not like a person's soul, but like a
Right,
soul.
but there are two words. Let's see.
So just this concept, I've never heard anything like that before. Like, what is that? This not the person's soul, but the other.
Well, in the Torah, when it says God breathes into Adam, he became a nefesh chaya, a living soul, a living individual. So the word nefesh really means the aspect of living. So an animal, a living animal. That's what we would say, nefesh chaya. The word neshama is the word that we usually use when we're talking about a person's soul in English. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when we say, what's the phrase? Not a basar lagu. I can say the body returns to the earth, but the soul returns to the one who gave it. Right? There's an expression. I'm sorry, I'm missing out on the Hebrew. All right. So anyway, so those are two different words. Nefesh is more the meaning of life force. Neshama is more in the sense of what we think of as a person, their personality, who and what they are, and that
Okay.
which may live after death. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right. Now we're coming up to Purim. And I mentioned last week that we have special Torah readings leading up through the course of the month. Last week was Parsha Shekalim, the shekel, half shekel. And this week's Torah portion will also have the story of Amalek. When Israel left Egypt, they were attacked by Amalek. Amalek becomes the symbol of absolute evil. And we will see Amalek, in a sense, referenced in Megillat Esther that we're going to come to. All right, so in just in a little more than another week, we will celebrate the holiday of Purim. Purim is the commemoration of the events that are described in Megillat Esther, the book of Esther. Right? There are 5 Megillot, but when people say Megillah or the Megillah, they're usually thinking of Megillat Esther, the scroll of Esther. When we say we're going to read the Megillah or the Megillah, that's what most of the time people are thinking of when they say that. Okay. Now, in short, and like I said, I really usually use this evening to go through the Megillat Esther in detail because I love it and I think it's fun for everybody. And if it's not fun for you, you're going to pretend that it is. So in short, the story is that an attempt was made to destroy the Jewish people. This is after the destruction of the first temple, sometime before the reconstruction of the temple. Takes place in Shushan. Shushan is the capital of Persia. The king of the story is, in Hebrew, Ahashverosh, which may be Artaxerxes. These names are difficult to go from the different languages. We recognize and acknowledge there is Daryavish, and there's a Cyrus that Koresh, that are clearly indicated external to the Bible. We know of these figures from both Greek history, because of the attempts to invade Greece, and of the various other histories that are out there that make mention of the Persian Empire. So what we have is there's a king Ahashverosh, and he has this big party, and he wants to show off everything that he has, his power, and he wants his wife Vashti to come and to the party. She refuses, gets rid of her, needs to have a new queen. So he basically has a beauty pageant. All the beautiful women of Persia are brought before him, and he selects a woman whose name in Hebrew was originally Hadassah, and in the Persian version of it was Esther. Okay, her uncle is a man by the name of Mordechai, and as we will see, it's very strange. The two names are actually Babylonian gods as well. Marduk, which is a source for Mordechai. Marduk is the name of a Persian chief god. Esther are Ishtar. She becomes Venus our Aphrodite in Roman and Greek mythology. So we have already the beginning hints that there's something going on behind the whole story of the Megillat Esther. So Haman and Mordechai are enemies. Haman wants to kill Mordechai. He's not happy to kill just Mordechai. He wants to kill all of the Jews, everybody who's part of Mordechai's extended family. Esther, who has kept her identity secret, she eventually saves the day. The Jews take vengeance on their enemies and have a big celebration. Everybody lives happily ever after. That's the short version of the story. Okay. And within the book of Esther, we have hints at what the rabbi saw as being the 4 mitzvot, the 4 observances, the commandments of the holiday of Purim. These are very important. Mitzvah number 1 is Mikra Megillah, the reading of Megillat Esther. On the night of the 14th of Adar, and again on the morning of the 14th of Adar, as part of the synagogue service, if you can make it a synagogue, otherwise at home, we read Megillat Esther, the book of Esther. So that takes place the night of the 14th or the morning of the 14th. I will come back in a minute to the 15th of the month. Okay. So now, that's number 1. Number 2 is matanot la'evyonim, or gifts to the poor, charity to the poor. Again, it comes out from Megillat Esther that we have an obligation on Purim Day to give help to at least to 2 poor people. Give tzedakah to 2 people who need help. Many synagogues will have a matanot le'evyonim fund, or as some might pronounce it, matonos levyonim, the more Ashkenazist pronunciation. And people may contribute to that to give the gifts, because not everybody necessarily has somebody hanging around who is needy. I will tell you that if you go to many Orthodox synagogues or Orthodox institutions, you will find people who come to the synagogue, to the yeshiva, and have their hand out so that you can fulfill the mitzvah of giving gifts to the poor. Okay. That's a mitzvah that they help you perform. The third mitzvah is mishloach manot, the sending of gifts of food, one person to another. Ish l'reyehu, a friend to his friend. Matanot levyonim, because it's gifts to the poor, that's a plural, you have to give to 2 poor people. Okay? The gift of food, mishloach manot, ish l'rayehu, is singular, but the gifts, the food gifts, are plural. So the idea was you have to give at least 2 food items, edible items, to somebody, a friend. In years when it's not pandemic, if you go in some Jewish neighborhoods, you will see people going back and forth from house to house, delivering their matanot, mishloach manot, to their friends in the area. My wife, in years past, we'd have the whole dining room table filled with containers, and we'd put in all kinds of goodies that she would bake. It was always good to be on good grounds with my wife. She's a great baker. We would then deliver them to people. The 4th mitzvah associated with Purim is Seudat Purim, the Purim meal. Unusual is that the Purim meal, the Seudat Purim, is not the nighttime of Purim, but usually done in the afternoon of Purim. Before sunset, going into the next day, you have a festive meal to celebrate the victory of Mordechai and Esther over Haman, the bad guy. Now, the Talmud associates this festive meal with the mitzvah to drink ad yoda until you don't know the difference between Baruch, Mordechai, Arur Haman. Blessed be Mordechai and cursed be Haman. So according to the strict literal reading of the tradition, you're supposed to get drunk. And there are some people, if they don't observe too much else, they certainly observe that mitzvah. I also know that if you look at some of the shuls in town, and you'll find police cars parked around the corner to pick up the guys who made the mistake of doing it that night at the synagogue and then trying to drive home, which they shouldn't have done. One reason for walking to and from shul. When I was a student back when, my last year of university, I was also in yeshiva, and my wife and I had gotten married, and we were invited to my Talmud teacher at my Rebbe's house for the Purim Suda, and he kept passing the bottle around and filling the cups, and Marilyn and I had to somehow walk back to the subway, to take the subway to get to the bus, to take the bus to New Jersey where we lived at the time. Believe me, it wasn't easy. However, and this is important, however, not everyone says you should get drunk. Some even say that you can fulfill the mitzvah by having a drink of wine and then taking a nap. And when you're asleep, you don't know the difference between one and the other. Certainly, if one is going to drink, one must take all the precautions that are necessary and when one is drinking to inebriation and driving and all those issues. And even already in the Talmud, there's a famous story in the Talmud that there were two rabbis who got together for Purim, and they got drunk. And I don't remember exactly why, but one, they were talking about, I guess, how to slaughter animals, and one rabbi took a knife and slit the throat of the other rabbi. Fortunately, he was such a great rabbi, he was able to bring him back to life. And so the next year, he invited him to join him for Purim Suda again. And the rabbi says, we don't rely on miracles twice in a row. So, you take it with advisement. But it is a happy time. A lot of people wear costumes. The whole idea of secret identity, not knowing who people are and hiding it, is associated with Purim. Also, we note that it comes a month before Passover, which means it's a month normally before Easter, because Easter and Passover generally coincide with each other. I don't know how it is or might be related to Mardi Gras and to all of the certain kinds of observances that we find in the Christian world. Is everybody frozen? Ooh. My screen said got everybody